Welcome into today's Browns film breakdown, where we have a fantastic show planned for you. Brad, Jake Burns, the fantastic Jake Burns, as always. We have a mailbag edition for you. Great questions submitted by the Browns film breakdown subscribers and questions from the Founders channel and Slack as well. Get that priority. Be able to ask your questions directly to us and be featured on the show by becoming a subscriber over at Browns Film Breakdown. It's a tremendous Browns community and absolutely worth your time and money because you will learn so much from Jake and his film breakdown, as well as everything else we offer the Daily Pod, the opening drive. It is 100% worth your time. Today, diving into some hot topics as we turn towards what is a tremendous matchup against the Ravens and what looks to be a daunting task, but we've got a lot of questions about that and other things, including Quinshon Judkins and adjustments from week one. We dive into it now on Browns Film Breakdown, brought to you by Monfredi Dental, just south of Hilliard in Columbus. Welcome into today's mailbag edition of Browns Film Breakdown, brought to you by Monfredi Dental in Columbus, just south of Hilliard. My name's Brad Ward. That's the fantastic Jake Burns. Next to me, we've got a Ravens week, in the middle of Ravens week, turning towards the game. We've got Quinshon Judkins back at practice today. We've got an injury report here, Jake.
It's a light one.
As I peer at it, I see Jair Alexander, full participant, which I think we're fine with. Isaiah Likely, DMP. Patrick Ricard remains a DMP. And then Namdi, Don't Call Me Justin Matabuke, is a limited participant, which would make him, I guess, trending towards playing, I would guess.
We'll see. Yeah, definitely a good thing that he's out there today. Probably Friday's practice is always the biggest indicator, as you know. So, yeah, I don't mind. And I mean, the Browns are good to go. I mean, like limited for Conklin, limited for Hall, limited for Jones. That's all fine. They're going to play. I would be pretty surprised if the Browns have somebody other than Mike Hall not playing or Quinshon. So, yeah, I mean, I think today Tommy Rees kind of talked about that a little bit. He made some quotes about Quinshon's just ready, whether he's ready to play or not. I don't think it's a physical problem. It seems like it's a mental burden. Can he be ready to do the mental side of the position, right? So that's what it sounds like. Tommy had some other good quotes, talked about some too high shells that Cincinnati was living in and kind of sort of causing some disruption on projected deep passing game things. Could they get into it or not? I think they were frustrated in the box between Bloomgren down on the sideline, between him up there. Why can't we run it against these too high shells, right? Yep. Some of that stuff I think was causing them some issues. They need to solve that, needless to say, for this week. I've talked to a couple different Baltimore podcasts about how they have to figure that out as quick as they can because the Browns they're living on the razor's edge, dropping Joe back as much as they're dropping him back. So that'll be fascinating. But yeah, there's a lot of coordinator quotes today. And another thing, Matabike will be a big part of this, but the quotes that came out, what did you think of the Delpit quote, Brad, where you have Delpit saying, I think I don't know the specific question, like what's hard about tackling Derek? Are you are you concerned or what's hard about tackling Derek Henry? And it was like, you have it? Do you have that exact question?
I don't have it. I know what it was. It was, what's it like to tackle Derek Henry? And he said, not hard.
Yeah, right. And then I think the question for Judy was, what are the Ravens secondary present as challenges? And he said there's like no challenge or something along the same line.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about those quotes?
Doesn't bother me. I'm fine with it. I thought the quote from, I think it was Kyle Hamilton or somebody on the Ravens side was like, it doesn't impact me either way. If what the other team is saying makes you play harder, then you know what I mean. So it's kind of hard. And Delpit has done this before with the Henry thing with remember the
too small gesture. It's kind of hard to put the too small gesture in play for us on these cameras.
Too small.
Nice.
Too small, Derek Henry. And I love that. Whatever, play. If that's what they need to play with an edge to be confident, then I'm fine with it.
I was just talking on a Ravens show about this. The questions brought was bulletin board material, and I get it. over the years, Brad, I have gone from being like the Kyle Hamilton response being the thing I would think, which is like, do they need this to play harder? Like it's goofy. They're out there playing hard. But then you'll see these guys are the most like they're the most sensitive group. The Browns is the Browns. Like you think they don't care, but they do. You need motivation every week. But ultimately, I don't care. And I don't think either guy's being disrespectful. They know who the Ravens are. Grant's played against them for 5 years. Jerry saw them last year. They know who they are. The thing that I think they're doing is they understand the amount of disrespect around the organization perceptionally in the league. And I think they're standing on business, for lack of a better term, with the guys. Like this is a young team. Like people are missing that this is a lot of new faces and a lot of young guys who have never played these guys. And we're not going to go up on the mic and be like, yeah, Derrick Henry, man, one of the toughest guys to bring down. It's going to be no, I mean, like let's exude some confidence. Let's say, like I don't think you get Grant Delpit, who's a very smart guy, away from the microphone. He's like, yeah, man, Derrick's great. He's tough. He's an SOB. They know what happened to JOK last year. He's a load. So like what they're trying to do is teach their people, in my opinion, the younger names and some of the guys, like we're a confident group. We're fine. It's not hard. We're going to figure this out. Like, I just think it was more for their own people than it is even the Baltimore bulletin board nonsense. So like, I didn't have a problem with it when you look at it from that perspective, because I don't think they want to get up there and be like showing this level of fear about ball. Like you can't let them beat you before you play. You can't.
Yeah.
And they've also beat Baltimore plenty. And I do think Grant has confidence in beating them. I think Jerry has confidence in beating them. So
yeah,
whatever, man, just like back it up, go play well. That's the thing. You can say whatever the hell you want in front of a microphone if you play well.
Yeah. Ultimately, there's no repercussion for what he says, except for that maybe he gives some confidence to his younger players around him. And, of course, the other side might get fired up, but they're going to be fired up anyways in this situation. I agree with you. I think that it's kind of it's not like the best leadership moment to do this, but it's kind of needed. Like, yeah, you've got to have confidence. You have to go in there thinking you're going to beat this team, or else you might already be beat. So
you can't let that happen. You can't play intimidated against the teams that are the Super Bowl favorites and stuff like that. So I get where they're coming from, even if at the same time it does present Baltimore with a chance to feel disrespected. But whatever, Baltimore shouldn't need that with where they're at. So,
which brings me up to one last topic about disrespect. We already visited this, the 30-year thing. If I was Kevin Stefanski, and I don't know if you would do this or not, but I would have somebody come and talk to them.
Yeah,
I would have somebody that was there in the organization when they left, or show them a video clip of like the players going around the stadium when they left. Because these guys are also young, they don't remember, and they're not from here, a lot of them, so they have no idea.
Yeah, I would say most of them have no idea. I would think if you interviewed. There was a really funny thing on social media today. Some of the fun things on the Browns put on social media make you roll your eyes, but it was really funny today. They had a thing on like what makes somebody get called an unk, right? Like what's the age for that? And a lot of them were like, if you're born in the 90s, you're an unk, which, I get it. It's just like, it's jarring when you think, oh, all these guys are kind of born post 2000, sort of like, oh, that's perspective on things. And when you're born post 2000, there was never a world where the Cleveland Browns weren't the Cleveland Browns, right? They left and were not in the league. So I do think if you polled a lot of these guys, they would have no idea the team left. I think that'd be an interesting study of how many of them knew about that, even when being drafted or like before being told that, hey, the Ravens were not around before, blah, blah, blah. So my theory on this, I don't know that Kevin even himself has the best perspective on sharing about this. I would consider, if it were me, I'm a loser behind a screen. If I were head coach of the Cleveland Browns, I would figure out the best way to get somebody who emotionally lost something from this.
Yes.
I don't know who that is. Maybe you're bringing in one of the old super fans. Maybe you're bringing in some, but it's got to be the right person to get them fired up. And even Ken Carman did pretty well with this the other day, to Ken's credit. But like, you should play into the emotion of this, whether the Ravens did or did not do this nefariously, whether the NFL, which I think it's the NFL more than the Ravens, went about doing this in a way to stir controversy. It is a thing that is a thing for a lot, like whether, and I talked about this with you yesterday, It's not even so much I experienced as my watching the people I loved older than me care so much about it, right? So like there's still a lot there. It's aging out as we know, but it's also still there. So I do
Very much.
hope that they don't ignore it. I think ignoring it would be a silly thing to do because you are always looking for emotional advantages. And so if you can find whether that's videoing somebody in, a lot of the deep cut Browns fans are going to hate me for this, but there was an offensive lineman who was a part of that Browns team when they left and went to Baltimore. He stayed with Baltimore. He kept wearing the Browns bandana. There are some, and again, I'll probably get 30 DMs about who that was because I just can't, in the top of my brain here, think of who it was, his name. But like somebody who cared enough to have those personal stories about what it meant to lose them, and then teaching the guys in the building, hey, here's what the city did. Here's what the fans did to keep the Browns in Cleveland. Because I think the history lesson is that this was supposed to be the Baltimore Browns.
Yep.
And the city kept the NFL's, stopped them from taking them, and kept the history in the city, and did that by blowing up the NFL offices and forming the Browns backers we all know today. It all came from this. So teaching them that and what it meant to people when they left, I think is a history lesson that should help them. It would help them
100%.
if they haven't already had it. Maybe they've already had it. Maybe not. But I think it's a chance to play into some emotion.
If not, this is the time to do it this week. Take an hour, whatever, a half hour.
Yeah, like at dinner on the night before the game, you're all at dinner in the hotel lot, in the room, and what. Let's talk about it, man. I think it is something. I understand that you're young, you're 2002 birth, or hell, Fannin would have been born in 2004, brother. Oh my god. Yeah. So like, they don't know, and even Fannin would know probably because he's a Northeast Ohio kid. But like some of these guys have no idea. And I think it would be really good to show them the lengths at which the fans went to keep the team around and all of that. That's where I'm at with it. It's an opportunity. I don't know. Maybe Kevin's good enough at it on his own to do it, but it doesn't feel like his MO around the history of that because he wasn't around. So I think it's interesting it's an opportunity they shouldn't pass up.
100% agree. Some kind of, however you do it, I would make it impactful and meaningful as you could to them so they understand, just so they understand, and then take some ownership over it. It helps them take ownership over the organization, the colors they're wearing, everything,
Yeah.
So all of that, this is the time to do it, certainly. All right, so I thought that was worth mentioning. All right, we've got a mailbag. Are you ready, Jake? We're gonna dive into the mailbag. Founders Channel's questions first. Tell me when you're ready, sir.
Ready, man. Line them up. Put it on the tee. Let's hack at it.
All right, we're going to start with the questions from Ryan Knopfel. You touched on this in a particular podcast earlier this week, but is the answer definitively the ugly run game? ? Whenever you want to work it in this week, all right, here we go. What's the causation of the Kevin to Joe partnership leaning heavily into the pass over run?
Well, when you run and you can't run, eventually you start to solve we can't run. Like solving that on the fly is hard at times. And like, hey, this is a good look. The box looks right. Everything looks good. This should be a nice gain. And it goes for 1 yard. Yeah. And then, so solving that in game and even inside of halves of the game is a challenge. And when you're in the box and you're trying to call plays, you can't keep calling run plays that are getting you into 3rd and 7s. Can't do it. So if you can connect, prosper via quick passing game, you have to do it. So listen, this goes way beyond just Joe. It was a thing with Watson and Winston and last year. Like it's just Joe, to his credit, is a more efficient, quick passing game quarterback than others. So they are not afraid to live in that world, but they've got to run it. There's no way around it other than like, you got to run it. And I know the rest of his question was it reacting to the box the Bengals were presenting or just continuing garbage off. They didn't do their jobs up front. Right. I thought schematically, if you watch the film room, I had questions about some of the schemes. Didn't think they put Cedric Tillman in a spot that was fair a couple times. Didn't think they did a great job in how they worked double teams to the second level. just based on the fronts in front of them, but also the backfield wasn't good enough. Also, some of the one-on-one blocks weren't good enough, and they didn't displace in double teams deep enough into the second level to create the organic push needed to make cuts. If you're making your cut, Brad, at -1 or 0 versus a 2-yard downfield cut, that's the difference, man. That's the difference. So, yeah, I they're not giving up on this. They want to be balanced, but they can't run into the brick wall constantly if they're not finding efficiency within the game.
Yeah, I thought in your breakdown, it was interesting. There was cutback lanes, but there should have been more room there, like, and also missed sometimes by Ford. So it was like a couple of things, but like the execution sometimes just all the way wasn't there, right? And for whatever reason, they need to combat that this week or fix those issues because it's not going to get much harder to do that, I think, against this defense. So
maybe I do think Cincinnati's front played really well. If they're down Matabike, it'll matter. I mean, I don't. This might sound crazy, but we'll revisit it later in the year. I don't think the difference in Cincinnati and Baltimore is the guys in the tackle box so much.
Okay.
I think it's that Baltimore is a much better coached and much more proficient back half of a defense. So that's my opinion. Fair. We'll see if it plays out that way on Sunday.
All right. That's probably fair. From Davaroth, Miles, 20-sack season, yes or no?
So this is it's an interesting talking point. I wrote about this in the opening drive, Brad, about how Miles starts most years pretty hot. Mm-hmm. He tends to fade as the year wears on. And organic, sure. You get torn up, wear and tear, guys healthy around you or not. It happens, right? You know, sacks are hard to predict. It's not like you get a sack a week, right? It's always on the table for Miles to get 20 sacks. He's in the peak of his powers. He's a transformer out there, man. It could happen. Is it, it's tricky. I think it should happen some year. It should. Yeah. This could be the year. We'll see. I feel as good about it as any other year, but he's got to really start to beat some of those late year, like he's in December under a sack per game, like on the averages, like it dips. I wrote about it. Go back and check. I don't have the data in front of me, but go back and check the day he showed up limited on the injury report before week 1. So that was what, Thursday. I wrote about it on Friday that they needed Miles to win that game, which they did. And just that it happens to him. He gets, and this is, again, not anything crazy when you think about it with like how a season goes and injuries and wear and tear. And also some majority of the Browns Novembers and Decembers with Miles have included a lot of pointless games, right? So that's another thing to keep in mind. 2 seasons in which that didn't really happen. Some seasons they've been in the, the graphic for in the hunt, but not enough meaningful ones to really like play him 45 snaps in week 17. You know what I'm saying? So some of that, I listen, I hope it happens. He's good enough to do it. He's better than anyone at that in the world right now. I think him and Micah Parsons are right there together. So yeah, I hope so, man. But if that happens to me, it probably is because this team is competitive and at 500 or above, because that's when they would, be in more games, putting teams in more pass situations, that sort of stuff.
Is Mason Graham, Malik Collins, Mike Hall when he's back, Isaiah McGuire enough of, does that feel like the best surrounding cast he may have had? Could that be the difference?
I think it's the best pass rushing. Well, It's hard. Clowney was pretty good when he was here, when he was not complaining in that second season. He was good in the first one.
Year 1.
Zadarius has been pretty good too. It's the best interior group I think he's had.
Yeah.
Pass rush interior. So that does mean something. Teams were putting, and really the Bengals did they put 4 hands on 2 players, Mason Graham and Miles. A lot of chip. Miles didn't get very many just free edge rushes without somebody in his way before he got to the offensive tackle. So yeah, I mean, it's hard to sit here and be like, yeah, Isaiah McGuire, Alex Ryder as good as Jadeveon Clowney 4 years ago and Zadarius Smith 2 years ago. It's not the case, but one game in, 5 pressures for Isaiah, a strong start. It's clear they could have something here. I'm that's one of the fascinating subplots, man.
Isaiah just has some moments where you're like, man, he could be something. You can't call it right now, but like he flashes at moments of being something special. So you hope that plays out.
Plays hard. I want those guys to play hard, and he plays hard. I don't think he's a technician yet. There's things to still grow at by a wide margin, but what he does is he plays his butt off. And like if you play that way as an edge and you have length like he has and strength like he has, getting the tools and the tool belt come over time. And I'm excited about where he is.
Me too. Me too. Do you see a scenario? This is from Davaroth as well. Continuing here, do you see a scenario? They script out 10 plays for Judkins, but he plays really well in those 10 plays, and they come back to him in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I don't think it's defined. Like if he's able, so much of it will come down to what he's able to mentally do. And if he can't pass pro because he doesn't know that yet, he won't be out there on late downs. If he only has a certain understanding of certain run concepts, he won't be out there on early downs. But if it is there and he's playing well, they're not going to be like, well, he's at 15. It's not going to be like a pitcher who's at 80 pitches. Like, no, they'll play him. Like if he's playing well within the confines of the offense, they'll ride the hand. Like it's not going to be like third quarter, shoot, Quinshon's got 13 carries.
Yeah.
All right, man, tell him to put the, wrap the legs up. He's good. No, they're going to play him if he's effective, but I still need to see him be active before you know what I mean? Like I need to see it. I need to see it. We'll see. I'm interested. I can't wait to watch that guy play. I've been vocal about how much I liked him in Ohio State and Ole Miss, and I can't wait to watch him. I just want to make sure our expectations are in check as far as him being even available to go this weekend.
Yeah. Especially if he does play and he is a difference maker compared to what the production they're getting from other backs.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to break a 30-yard run and maybe another 12-yard run, and they're going to be like, Jerome, get back out there, buddy. No, that won't happen. I mean, within the confines of knowing what you need to do on any given play. They don't want to have Q in the huddle and call a 6-man protection, and he doesn't know he has the backside will who comes free and causes a strip sack. That's a coaching malpractice thing. They can't let that happen. Pick your spots.
From RJ. Here we go. Continuing. Thank you for your questions in the mailbag. Good question so far. What counters do they have against? And there's 2 answers here. A, targeting Ward in the run game. Great question. And B, linebacker ignoring the play action besides run action or simply running success.
There really isn't a great answer for the corner stuff. Like if teams want to block heavy to your side and leave you alone, you need your guys around you to kick ass. Like just make it so that you don't have to be the guy to make the play. But that's hard. There's just going to be times you got to make a tackle. And Denzel's not been bad at this through his career. He's been a fine tackler. He had a bad week 1. It happens in tackling. He was good everywhere else, and they pivoted and got it right. What do you want from Denzel Ward? I said it the other day. The checks are cashed because he covers Jamar Chase well, and T. Higgins and Zay Flowers and these others. That's I don't care that he misses a tackle here or there, because ultimately he does make a bunch of those ankle biting tackles. Keep your head healthy, young man. Yeah. And just Denzel on the field. I don't care what it takes. You need him to cover well, and you need him for the confidence of that group. So, that's where I'm at with it. Linebacker ignoring the play action besides run out. Yeah, I talked about this again with the Baltimore guys. The Browns got to solve it. They're going to probably have to run some draws where they sell that, turn. It's going to be like the indicators, they turn and flash fake. And maybe it's I personally would be doing a little bit of like that run action, Brad, where I'm it's play action. I try to get people to understand the definition for me. Play action versus run action. Run action, every single person's committing to selling the run. Play action is to me just a form of like flash faking. It could be from the gun where you flash fake the ball in front of you under center. It's a 7-step drop, and on the way to your 7-step drop, 3 steps, flash fake the football to the back and then hit your 7 depth or whatever. It's right. It's semantics, playbook to playbook. But like I would probably run a draw off of that, set it up, have Joe look, drop back, hand it off. I would also have a middle screen to play out on that, where I'm doing the same drop, letting those pass rushers upfield and just dropping it down on a middle screen release, because you can't have those linebackers so quick to vacate. You can't have the safeties so quick to vacate. Got to keep them honest. So that is something I am very focused on.
It has to look like what they're gonna do, though, right? Like, I was thinking about what the Bengals were doing so often on that first drive with the pump fake and then the handoff.
Yep.
Multiple times.
Yeah, and they can do a little bit of that. I mean, but the thing
Yeah.
that they're doing is extending the football on the first 3 steps and then turning Joe's back to the defense, and it's like, that's a waste if there's no bite from the second level.
Right.
Taking Joe's eyes off that because the point, and I'm a believer too. You data scientists, I don't want to get crushed. You don't have to run with efficiency to use play action efficiently. Well, if your run action, play action, whatever you want to do is not moving the second level at all, then it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. It has to hold people. The reason you do that stuff is even because we don't run it well, they still bite up. They're still moving vertical and then punching out. Brother, they weren't moving at all. So you got to find some things to mess with them there. And I think the Browns will. They better. They damn well better. Might have to write on that, Brad, to help people understand it. We'll see about that.
I think that's a good topic. From Artie Peshaman. Artie, I apologize.
Appreciate you, Artie.
Appreciate you, Artie. How do you like the Browns' easy answers for offense? Is this offense looking like a strong foundation for a future quarterback or the next quarterback? Which is a great question, Artie.
Some bubble screen stuff, some check downs to the back. Yeah, it's fine. I think it's fine. The biggest easy button in an offense ever is being able to line up, run it for 4 yards, and continue to be efficient and put yourself in 3rd and 3s and 3rd and 2s, right? But there were some more easy button activation. The motion helps with that stuff. It helped put lateral constraints on an defense, at the first level. Helps open up some of those quick throw game things. They were better at the easy button stuff than they've been, and I do think it'll be an offense that we saw. If Gabriel came in, I think he could run it. I do think that there's a capability for a young quarterback to run it of a specific style, somebody who can process out, read, pre to post, and get to answers. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I think it's good. I think it can be run by a young quarterback.
I have a question. I'm going to throw my own question in the mailbag
Let's do
here.
it.
All right. From Brad Ward, your co-host.
What's up, Brad?
Hey. First time, long time. I was watching a breakdown on a coach's clinic on throwing stick routes. Okay. And off that stick route is always the back release, right? To that side.
Usually some form of a lateral flat.
Right.
Could be from any alignment, but yeah.
So I guess they call it it's either a swing or what's the more direct route?
It's just usually, some places could call it some other things. Just called a flat. We had it a flat. We had a swing.
But
we had
more up the field,
2 yards depth. Yeah,
turning.
Yep.
And then the swing is more back. And then do you have a belief of which is more efficient or easier for a QB or a quarterback? Which is easier for the quarterback to read or throw?
Okay, good question. Probably easier on a whiteboard, but I'll try my best to explain this. So an arrow or a stick, it depends on how you're lined up. If you're wide, it's usually more of a 45-degree angle. If you're in the slot or you're in a bunch set, it's usually more vertical to 5 or 4. You're basically sitting it down inside of a zone window. That's what you want to do. If it's man, you figure out who's covering the back and you just you're trying to make the guy running from inside out to cover him, run the arc, run around you. That's how the Browns hit a nice little 3rd and 6 conversion. They got the Bengals in man, and they had to have Demetrius Knight run out and around it, and it worked, right? If it's zone, you're sitting in the hole. The swing creates more space, and the space given on a swing can allow you to read out who's covering the flat. Is it a down corner, or is it a curl flat defender coming from inside working out? So a swing, think of it this way. A swing is like if you're a quarterback in the shotgun, you got a running back next to you. He's almost taking a 45-degree step lateral backward behind the line of scrimmage with his foot, not turning around or something, but just more lateral and toward the sideline. A flat is a 45-degree angle toward the line of scrimmage wide. it gets a little more congested.
Yeah.
I think a swing gives you more clarity on who the invert is, what we call that, the invert area defender is going to be. But in the nature of like, hey, it's 3rd and 3, they're in a mug front, they're bringing 6 or 7. A flat route can give you a better, quicker answer. So it's all
Okay.
I gave you an answer without giving you an answer. It's situational.
Yeah.
But as far as
Situational.
understanding why they do it certain ways, think of it as a swing route is a better late option because it takes more time to build to the point of throwing it out there. It's good if you're coming off of maybe 1, 2, and then 3 to the swing. Flat routes are usually a part of the immediate answer because you're never late to the flat. If you're late to the flat, you're going to get somebody hurt or he's going to run out of bounds. He's not going to catch it. So think of it that way. What timing in the read is that player? That sort of stuff. A lot of elements that move into it, but that's football in a nutshell. I'm telling you 17 different things about 2 simple running back routes. Good question, listener Brad.
Yeah, the interesting thing I was thinking about is the way the back catches it too. I guess if you have a better receiver, it's probably easier to throw the flat because he can catch it and turn up because you're catching it. You throw it to the upfield shoulder, right? So
yeah, you want to make it easy on him. Stick it in his face mask so he can turn and run upfield. Now,
turn and run.
The challenge is he doesn't know what's behind him. There could be somebody ready to hit him, or there could be you don't know. A swing, you get more front facing. I know who's coming. I can maybe shake a little bit here. I know where you know what I'm saying. So positives and negatives of both, usually predicated on timing of where they are in the route concept read is what I've always used that as a coach and understood it as a player and then understood it as an analyst.
Rob Whitehouse. Thanks, Rob. Is Kevin going to have his offense run well by a quarterback not named Joe Flacco? I mean, he
we got to stop here. Baker ran it well when he wasn't hurt. Jacoby Brissett ran it well in the first 12 games of 2022. Deshaun was bad, right? We know that.
So
Dorian Thompson-Robinson was a miss schematically. I understand why they wanted to pursue it. I get it. I think this is just wrong. And I don't mean to be crass here, but like I just think it's wrong. He's gotten results out of quarterbacks before. So yeah, I don't think this is a non thing to me, Brad.
Yeah, so this brings me to Ben Chandler has a question later on. It covers the same thing, and Ben wrote a long question with statistics and everything. Jake compared Kevin Stefanski to Marvin Lewis. That hurt my feelings. Marvin Lewis had Kitna one pretty good year, while Palmer sat Palmer for 7 straight years and Andy Dalton for 3 years. Would love to give KS that sort of stability and competence, at the position. Kevin's had Baker's 16 starts in 2020. He goes on to list off Brissett, Watson, the games they played, Flacco, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, PJ Walker, Winston, Watson, Zappy. Marvin Lewis would be heading to the 480 bridge with that.
Well, to be clear, also Marvin was a defensive guy. This isn't a one-to-one comparison. Like this is more an organization being patient with somebody as a coach who maybe doesn't have the every year success that the Ravens and Steelers have had, right? There were reasons to move on from Marvin early, according to Cincy people. He found some success. He took them to division titles. I'm just, again, I get where Ben's coming from. He's right. He's totally right. But, some of that with Kevin is some decisions Kevin was involved in too, that ultimately matter to the whole process there as well.
I think the comparison you're making too wasn't necessarily about schematically or success with quarterbacks. It was about like the jumping off point of the organization.
Yeah, the patience to ride out
guy, right?
100%. Yeah, like some stability in places like this is it's not, I'm not even saying it's the answer. It might be wrong, but they've tried the other route so many times. I don't blame them for trying to be patient. It's not like they've seen no success here. The guy has actually had a couple really good seasons and some in-between seasons navigating some chaos that have not been totally awful. Yeah, they went 3-14. Yeah, they've disappointed maybe in the Houston game, and I get it, but like, good God, we've seen worse. It can be worse, it can get really bad. And maybe Kevin's the coach before the coach. That could be the case. But also, I don't think it's. Let me put it this way. I think a lot of people wanted Vrabel. Are we sure Vrabel wanted to take the job in Cleveland? Are you sure Jimmy Haslam didn't sit at the bar and talk with Vrabel, and Vrabel said, hey, I have no interest in this job here. I'm just here to learn how these guys go about it, think about football in a different way, be around a data-driven organization, and my eyes are elsewhere. You don't know what he wanted in Vrabel, right? You don't. No one knows. Maybe wanted to live close to his roots for a year. I don't know. I think that's the thing people want to believe. And I again recognize Kevin could be the guy before the guy, but who's the guy? Who do you know wants to come? Who's knocking at the door of Cleveland? I mean, like, okay, if Nick Saban starts to publicly rave about the Browns job in the next 60 days, like, okay, that's Nick Saban. That's hard to ignore. Or Bill Belichick, heaven forbid. Ooh. But what I'm getting at is like, I think there's this rush to write Kevin off. And he, and I get it. We all have wanted more here, but there's so much nuance, and that's the world we live in today. But like, there's just so much nuance ignored here. And I'm not even like, as a pretty ardent Kevin supporter, I'm not saying that he's the guy who's going to take them places someday. Doug LeMarie, who came on, he might be right. Maybe, there's never another gig for Kevin. So he's an OC for life. He's the OC version of Spagnuolo in KC. I don't know, but like, he's willing to take on the challenge that is working under Jimmy Haslam, and he's willing to do this, and he's done some good things. And people want to ignore the worst that we've seen and act like if you get rid of Kevin, you can't go back to those places you were. And I think that's a world I also think that folks don't want to recognize. So I don't know. Yeah.
I personally was not, I'm just going to say, I was not for Vrabel taking over. I would still think Kevin has time here I would like to see it play out. I'll just leave it at that.
Right. And the right head coach, the perfect head coach at the perfect time might come along. Who knows? Maybe the Steelers get tired of Mike Tomlin and they fire him this year. Something goes. Maybe Tomlin wants to come to the Browns and they feel like I'm just talking about like veteran HCs and there's a lot of possibility out there. You never know where all of this is going to go. And there might be a guy who's better suited down the line. But I think it's just as likely Kevin is perfectly suited when everything aligns at the most important position to figure it out. He does a lot of modern things that are good. Yeah. So, and that's wanting to wish in one hand and all of that, cliches you can find.
They've overcome a lot too to win a lot.
And he's not been perfect either. But another thing is like, they're young, dude. They're so young still in this. Like, you could get 20 more years of Andrew being your GM and Kevin being the head coach. Hell, even maybe 30. Like, you could do this for a long time. And I think sometimes people, and I get it, the NFL's built this way. It's done this and organizations operate this way. But what is Kevin as a head coach at 48? What's that look like? Is he pretty good? Does he have a lot of experience? Does he have lived out a lot of different things here? And he's maybe. So I'm willing to be open to seeing it, for now. Well, maybe our opinion changes by the end of the year or something, but I'm not in a rush to make that choice that some folks want to be in.
Yep. From Aaron Hitchens, did you see anything in the opener of note for Thrasher Bond?
No, did not. I mean, listen, Bond got some early snaps and push vertical, and they're going to do that with him. Maybe he'll get some chances down the sideline. There's some chances you could have thrown it. He had to step on a guy. I get why they wouldn't. There's not a lot of chemistry there. Maybe not looking to take those shots. I want to see more of both of them. I didn't see anything that made me go, they gotta play one or the other, and they got to take Fannin off the field in order to get them on the field. I'm still not there.
Yep, I'm with you. From Thomas, last question from the Founders Chat. What are some ways the offense can be effective in split back formations with Sampson and Judkins?
Whatever you want, brother. Some screen game. They could do some split back, put Sampson, cross buck style, send him one way, send Sampson or send Judkins the other way, let Judkins kick out an edge and Sampson's cross bucking off the other side. Like, there's a ton of things you can do with those guys. Put, play action where you're sliding Sampson into the flat. Like, yeah, I have no problem with them putting that in there for 5 or 6 plays. I think it creates an interesting wrinkle and it can create some nice box count numbers and give them some nice play action looks too. Maybe even in the offset pistol sort of look. The Browns ran some pistol in week 1, so I think they'll do a little bit of that as well. So yeah, they did it. They were together doing that a little bit before Q left. So I think they'll do it.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. I think we saw a little bit of that before Q left camp. So, all right, from Cody Rega. Cody,
right.
good to have you here asking questions. In the immediate future / down the road this season, how do you see the running back room playing out now that Judkins has signed his deal?
He's going to play a lot. It's going to be like 60-40. That's my guess. Those two. I think they're the snap counts that you saw go to Ford, go to Judkins, and those are your two guys. I think that Ford will take a heavy special teams backseat role, and yeah, that's it, Brad. I think it's as simple as that. Some weeks if Q is hot, they'll play him more. Some weeks, if they're trailing and need to throw it more, you might see an uptick for Samson. They got to play both of them. They got to develop both of them. They got to maximize the rookie contract for both of them. They're good players, so play them.
Yeah.
They'll play.
Yeah, and ride the hot hand if you have to. Right?
Yep, 100%.
Armand Holmes asking, in what ways would you try and attack the Ravens defense? Which players do you think could have big games here?
I think they're going to try to run it. They're going to really try to establish the interior run game because they if Matabike's out or at a limited capacity, they want to get back on track there. I expect them to do that. I expect Tillman to get a lot of targets. They're going to move him around, get him in diverse spots. They're going to put him in the slot. So I think he'll get a lot of opportunity. And I think David and both tight ends will challenge these linebackers and try to do some stuff. I don't know if Fannon's going to be as dense because I think they're going to try to nullify him with Kyle Hamilton a lot. They're going to try to put him on him. So I think it's probably a better David week than week one. But yeah, I certainly think that you can run the football vertically on these guys, gap scheme them instead of wide zoning them, and then try to challenge some of their corner depth in a way that is unique. So yeah, I think there's opportunity here, Brad.
Yeah, me too. And so this brings us to Todd Trout. Todd, thank you for the question. Todd Trout's question. Love this. How do you stop Lamar and Henry? So
if we knew this, we wouldn't be podcasting. We would be in Berea passing along game plan notes.
I wanted to
stop one of them. You do it. Thoughts. Give me your thought. Yeah, give it.
And see what you think. So it feels like to me you have to try to stop Henry first. Like you
words out of my mouth, Brad.
Yeah, it's like if he starts to win, then they can beat you both ways. I feel like you have to stop Henry, and like Lamar's going to beat you one way or another a little bit. You can try to mitigate that, but if you don't stop the run, you're done for. So I think it feels like you have to make a dedicated effort to stop that first and foremost. And I think that actually plays into their personnel a little bit too, because the corners you have. So yeah, I would be like, we're stopping the run. A, B, and C. Plan A, B, and C is stop Henry in the run, and then we'll deal with Lamar after that.
No, the question is, how do you stop them with an and between them?
Yeah.
It's how do you stop one of them? I think that's what the Browns have to do, and it obviously is so hard to stop both of them. It's hard to stop Lamar, period, because of the advantages of a quarterback in this league. So I do think you're right. It's cutting down Derrick Henry before he gets started, having better success defending him, and then you have a chance. If you don't, Browns can't live in 40-point shootouts. They don't have the gunslinger of all gunslingers in Josh. So you better get them into third downs. You better get them off the field. You better dominate the time of possession just like you did week one. You do that, you got a chance. We'll see, Brad. We'll see, man. I think it's fascinating to say the least, kind of the middle ground of where these two teams are and where the Browns defense is and how they navigate trying to stop Derrick, because I know the next question about JOK not being there and would the Browns do anything to slow down Lamar in his absence. Carson will help, but JOK was a unicorn in the scrape fill game where he could just cut down these schemes they like to run and make life hard on Lamar. I think Lamar's going to have a nice day. He's just going to have a nice day, but it comes down to how much they can keep Derrick from making Lamar's life immensely easier. And I didn't mean to cut off Kyle's question. That's the next question about JOK's absence. It's fair. I hate it. It makes me sick. So I
Yeah.
hope there's a future where those two can line up together, because if you're getting JOK back and you're getting Carson, this is one of they could be one of the best linebacker duos in the AFC North, period. That includes some places with some real dudes in the last, a Roquan Smith, Patrick Queen linebacker group the Ravens had a couple years ago. It would be so fun. Those would be the type of guys you need to stop this sort of defense. So, yeah, long story short, stop Henry, do your best with Lamar, make him throw it, deal with the pressure you can create. And at some point you hope for the best. Like,
yeah,
they made life really hard on Lamar last year in the win they had in Cleveland, and he did some ridiculous stuff and beat it and found ways to these guys are like, I'm telling you, man, they're the Brady, Manning, Rodgers, Breeze. This is the Josh, Lamar, Mahomes, Burrow of modern day right now.
Yep.
So they're good. They're good as hell, and the league helps them more than they've ever helped these guys. So just you gotta hope he has an off day. That's the crux of it too. He doesn't play well. He just has one of those days where he misses some throws. And Lamar's known to do that. He'll have those days.
Yeah.
Have some days where he'll carve you up like a surgeon, but he'll have some of those days where he doesn't get in a rhythm, can't find it, misses some throws. They got to punt it more than they want to punt it. That's what you hope for. Make them uncomfortable and make them feel your presence.
Yeah. But that only begins if you stop.
100%. You don't have any success stopping Henry, and you let him get run past divergent. It's they call that hell.
It's called that hell. Yeah.
All right, we can jump to Lance's question because we got Kyle's.
Right. Lance Carnault, I think I said that, Lance. If I didn't get that correct, I apologize, but great question. Small flex. Traveling from Portland to Baltimore.
Well, thoughts and prayers for us there.
Yeah. Do you see genuine weaknesses in their game and pathways to victory for us, or am I going home sad?
I mean, there's always a route. I like we said, we've laid this out. I don't think we need to keep doing it. It just depends on how well the offense keeps drives alive. You got to keep the Bengals. This is different from when you play the Steelers. We'll see what they continue to do with Aaron or some of the others on the schedule. It's so much keeping these like superstar quarterbacks off the field. It's possible. I don't think their odds are very good, but it's possible. I don't think. Would I be stunned if they beat the Ravens? No, I think it's possible, but it would be surprising. So let's just be honest about that. It would be surprising.
Yeah, very much the same question from PB. What is your, if the Browns win, this is how, key factors for both sides of the ball? So maybe we focus on the offensive side of the ball now a little bit, since we covered defense pretty well. Yeah. Also, you and Brad could do a version of this long parlay. You guys give out example Browns money line, Flacco. That's what we do, though, right?
Well, according to FanDuel tonight, we put in a little parlay on the Thursday night game.
We did,
and so far the Commanders have dropped the ball. They did score an Ertz touchdown. 20. We need them to have a nice comeback in the fourth quarter to get to the 3 number that we need. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But the what do we got? Or did we take the Packers? I can't remember.
We took the Packers.
Okay, my bad. I screwed that up. Maybe I put in the whole thing wrong then. I was trying to replicate yours.
Wait,
maybe we didn't.
I don't think I took a line.
I think what you sent me, Brad, as we're doing this live on air, is that you sent me Green Bay laying 3.5. So that's right. Yeah. Maybe I probably put that in right, or I just did a slip and somehow put. This is how parlays fail, folks. You're hearing it live and on air. Yep. How a parlay fails in communication. So really unfortunate for Jake's bank account. Let's put it that way. Also, yeah, I mean, let's do this.
All I need is McLaurin touchdown.
Which is possible. 7 minutes left. Definitely can happen. The element of this question that was asked to us, I think this is a good one for us to do. PB, good question. We'll get to it later in the week. The game day preview, we'll dive very deep on that topic and give you a good answer on that, because otherwise we'll just be saying the same things, replicating. So we can jump to Brian's question.
All right. Given the possible emergence of Fannin and Sampson as pass catchers, Should the Browns actually embrace being a 45-plus pass attempt team rather than trying to fake it as a power run team?
No, I don't think they should do that. It's too early. Do they need to lean as heavily on running it as we think they should? No, probably not. But that's probably, we feel that way because of how unsuccessful they've been. I think they should still seek very clean balance until they just figure out we cannot do this. We can't do it. So I'm not there with you yet, Brian. It's a good question. Understand where you're coming from. Like, hey, this is what they were good at in week 1. Why don't they just lean into it? It's you saw a little bit of why it's hard to lean into it, because balls bounce off hands and weird things happen, and they're going to face better defenses than Cincinnati's too. So having the ability to make teams respect both phases is so beneficial to the overall efficiency. So I'm still seeking that.
We are in the Brian, Ben, and the Bees part of the show here. So we went from Brian to Ben to another Ben that we already addressed. First part of his question, second part of his question, and this is from Ben Chandler again. Against Baltimore, now to my question. Against Baltimore, I think you have to play more zone defense, and I'm worried we don't have the horses to do it. Do you agree? My rationale, Emerson is out. I think we all know he plays better in zone coverage. Ward, dating back to Joe Woods, has communication issues, which is a needed trait in effective zone. No JOK, though I'm hoping Schlesinger can be a proxy replacement. Any players you'd expect to play more, maybe more 3 safety looks, question mark.
They can play zone. I think their cover 2 and cover 3 stuff was good and more deceptive in week 1. I'm not as afraid of the zone stuff as I am in years past, because I think they really, really, really try to simplify it. We'll see if they get into more invert 2 and get a little funkier the way Schwartz likes to, but I don't have fear playing zone in this game, and they will need to. You don't want to live in too much man-to-man against Lamar, but you can package Lamar, keep him tight in the pocket in man coverage looks with a low hole sitter who is a bit more keen on where Lamar is in the pocket. So I don't expect them to be too much different than they have been traditionally. They will probably uptick some zone, but there are times where the Ravens really want to throw it quick. So I don't think they're going to just shy away from playing man to take away quick throwing game that Lamar also really likes. So yeah, it's not going to be entirely totally different than week 1 would be my prediction.
Ben Labaza's turn in the Bens, the last of the Bens. How often do you recognize the Browns or other teams putting stuff on film to set up big plays in future weeks in your own film reviews?
It's not the most often. I mean, I certainly think teams know what they like to do and then build a repertoire of things off of what they like to do. It happens. It's not like, hey, let's put this thing in week 2 and then come to it in week 6. I think you get the idea of it. Hey, we have done this before. They're probably going to see it and be prepared for it one way. Let's have an answer off of that. It happens. I don't think it happens as frequently as people think. I think you have what you know are your immediate answers off of your tendencies, and then you try to build some things off of it. But really, it's week to week, looking at what they do defensively and then pinning down how they're going to defend your base looks, the things you like to do, and then having schematic wrinkles off of it that give you some chances to take some shots and chase some explosives, right? So it happens, but I don't, like, again, to the root of the question here, I don't think a team is prepping for week 2, calling plays in week 1 with the idea it's going to have a wrinkle in week 2 that works. You kind of get into that week and come up with the wrinkles off of it. I don't think there's game plans that say, hey, we're going to put this in and we're going to run it this way. May not be successful against the Bengals, but boy, is it going to come in handy against the Ravens. I don't think that's just not a world you can live in consistently for the Browns, who are just so concerned week to week with finding some solutions, you know?
Yeah. It feels like you would look back and be like self-scout, like
100%. You know what you got, right? Yeah. Yep. Or you're watching them play another team. You know, you're watching them play the Bills, and they didn't do this well when the Bills did this.
You know what I mean?
Bingo. That's the stuff you're trying to get proactive with.
Okay, Corey K, last question here. I always think about how much easier life would be if the Browns were in the AFC South or NFC South.
Me and you,
at least At least there's ups and downs and cycles through what team has the upper hand. Instead, there's always at least one, two, sometimes three good teams in the AFC North. I was trying to think back the last time the AFC North was truly in rough shape and can't really remember. When's the last time our division was really up for grabs?
I mean, this would take some study. I think there's my immediate thought to that is there were some rough years for the Bengals in the early 2000s. And I think that probably the Browns were obviously rough too. And I think there's probably some years where both of them were bad, and then that left only two good teams. But I think I've gone through this on my own before you jumped here with me, Brad. Where like the Steelers and Ravens are just never down. They're not down. Like they've had 1 year between the two. One led to the Ronnie Stanley pick for them. Another year for the Steelers led to Roethlisberger. But they don't pick inside the top 20 very often. And if those teams don't pick inside, when did the new divisions come into play? Wasn't it like 2003 or something like that? There hasn't been a year where those two teams have been, and the Bengals haven't also had a little bit of a run. So, brother, you're talking like the old AFC Central, which had the Jags in it and the Oilers. You're going back to the Browns last won the division in 89. In the 80s, there were some years where the Steelers weren't very good, and the Bengals had good years in the 80s and some bad, and the Ravens obviously weren't around, but we know that the Oilers had some. So to answer your question, is probably like a 90s thing. This has been so long that the Steelers and Ravens have been beacons of consistency, and the Bengals have had some really good peaks in their run as well. So it's not like you can say the Bengals or the Browns. It's like that's the question we had when the schedule release happened. Like, how much better would we feel about the Browns win-loss total if they got to play the Browns twice? But that's it. Like that's the crux of it. This division doesn't have any like that's what the people who discuss this stuff and go year by year, and so you don't understand, man. These two franchises don't go down. Like they don't do it. They just don't do it. And it is incredibly frustrating. And you're right, Corey, the ebbs and flows of the NFC South and the Tampa and Atlanta and Carolina with Cam Newton finds a run. Like they don't fall off like this, man. They don't. Think about it from that perspective. Tampa's had a top pick, Jameis Winston. Carolina took both Bryce Young. That was more of a trade, but still Bryce Young and Cam Newton. The Falcons have been more successful consistently. We could agree because the Matt Ryan era was good to them, but they still have had some valleys in the last 5 years. And I don't even know who's the other team in that. The Saints. The Saints have had a lot of ups, but we know they're now in a valley. The Browns haven't had the other teams, the Steelers and Ravens, find those valleys. And we know the Saints in the 90s before Drew Brees saved everything in 2005 were pretty bad. So like, that's not the thing. The Bengals have had times of being rough. They've had some rough years. Landed them Carson Palmer, landed them Joe Burrow, right? And even the time between finding Andy Dalton. But yeah, man, like that's it. That's why it sucks. Yeah, if you want to go to the AFC South, right, you're talking like Houston's been at rock bottom. The Colts have been at rock bottom. Well, now the Colts have probably been the most consistent because they got Manning, and Manning was really consistent for a long time from 98 on. They were really good. But then they went right into Andrew Luck, but they had a down year to get Andrew Luck when they had the year where Peyton was hurt to get Andrew Luck. And then since Andrew Luck, they've been down to an extent. You know, the Jags have had a couple decent moments, but largely down. And we know what the Titans have been. They've been down more than up. So yeah, it's hard, dude. It's frustrating and hard. And that's why I think the people who Browns fans who've stuck it out since 99 deserve something. And I'm not even saying like, you know, that everybody involved with the organization has been awful. I just think that like the Steelers and Ravens have made it really hard to be at the top of this thing. Like it's a bitch. It's a bitch. It's not fun. It's not fun. I look forward to days. Someday it'll happen. I talked about that on the postgame show the other day. Someday the Browns are going to make this turn, and we don't know when. There will be a day when the Steelers and Ravens are bad. I don't know when it will happen. Maybe you and I will be in our 50s or something, Brad. I don't know. Yeah. But it's going to happen someday. It's just a matter of like when. And I'm telling you, I'm tired of waiting for it. For it.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Someday.
But what can you do? We can
Sure
get
as
ready
hell
for
nothing from where
Baltimore
we're
this
at.
weekend. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. So
yeah, that's what we'll do. But good questions from everybody. Great job on a mailbag edition. We'll continue to do these every week. They seem to be a good gateway to get ready for Sunday and kind of get us a feel for where the Browns are. Make sure you get over to Browns Film Breakdown. Worth the money. Learn about your team. Become part of a great Browns community. And I truly mean that. We want you there. We will embrace you, and you will learn so much from Jake's film breakdowns by far. They are fantastic, and you will know so much more about every single part of your favorite team, and you'll get to engage with great people, and you'll get our opening drive, our podcast, and everything else that we have to offer over there. Free contests, all that stuff going on for our subscribers. So go do it. Go subscribe. Any parting
we love
words
you.
tonight,
We love you guys. Thanks for being here. As we love to say, be well to people around you, be well to yourself, and take care. And as we say, go Browns.